Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I'm your host Dave, and I am joined once again by the most beautiful boy in the world, Colby Clark. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, that's very sweet of you. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. The glasses were a nice touch, though. I wish you would have kept them. You looked handsome.
Right? I know. And they're zeros, you know?
I don't know what that means. There's no
There's
prescription in them.
Yeah, they just help with looking at screens for a long period of time.
Oh, they're like those blue light glasses or something like that.
And my sexual attraction is heightened to dad level, and it matches my pun output.
Hold on. Your sexual attraction or your sexual attractiveness?
Right. I didn't. Yeah.
I didn't know
The
where you were going with
latter.
that for a second. I was like, you put on the glasses and your sexual attraction to what, Colby? It heightens to what?
When I put on the glasses.
No one cared
become
before I put on the
Superman.
glasses. All right.
I become a sexual Superman.
I don't like that. I hate that. Yeah, but how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just got a little fur baby.
Yeah, you got a new little kitten. You don't have a name for it though.
Yeah. We got to name him.
Should we leave it up to the audience? Should I put it out there?
Absolutely. Listen up, cryptid lovers. I need you to name this beast.
Well, it's an all black cat, right? Just a little baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's badass.
Yeah. So
I need something edgy but cool, but like it's got to hit all the check all the boxes for me,
Gotcha. So anyone listening, if you have a good name for a black kitten, let us know, and I will make Colby choose one of them. I'll put I'll find the top ones and then put a poll or something out. We'll figure it out.
Done.
We'll figure it out. just like us trying to figure out murder at the end of the world. It'll be fine.
And life.
Yeah. All right, Colby.
How are you, Dave?
I'm good. As I told you before we started recording, I'm getting really big back into like dinosaurs. Just
Yes.
there's a bunch of dinosaur documentaries out there, and they're all phenomenal. The one on Apple TV, narrated by David Attenborough, is my favorite because I love that man. He's rarely on screen during his documentaries, but for like the Prehistoric Planet on Apple TV, they show him at the beginning, and for some reason, this man always looks like he was late to the recording of the episode. Like, I know he's like 180 years old, but like his hair's all disheveled. Like it looks like he just like threw on a suit jacket, didn't put a tie. Like he's just like, and just was like, oh fuck, and just runs in.
I was gonna ask if he was as soothing to look at as his voice is to listen to.
No, he
in a word,
he looks like someone who is very distressed about the environment, because he is, you know what I mean? But like he looks like he's in a constant state of panic. His face doesn't show it, but like his hair's all disheveled. Like I don't know, he looks like
he knows
cool
too
grunt.
much.
Yeah, he knows way more than either of us ever will. He's been doing it for like 80 years.
I mean, exactly. He's seen the rise and the fall of many species. And he's just over it. He's like, you know what? I'll get there when I get there. All right.
That's 100% true. That's probably exactly what's going on. But it's wild. Yeah. So that's what I've been up to. Just you got
nice.
Velociraptors are small and covered in feathers. Sure. I found out that mammals did exist during the time of the dinosaurs. Didn't know that.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well,
the sea was more terrifying back then than it is now, and it's pretty already fucking terrifying. But yeah, no.
I mean, it makes sense logically, but more terrifying than the sea now is just unfathomable.
Yeah, it's not good.
I think that's one of my deepest fears is open water.
Oh yeah, it's not. I don't like water where I can't see and or touch the bottom. Fuck that, dude.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
I'll go on a boat. I used to go tubing as a kid, and now like if someone's like, "Hey, you want to go tubing or like kneeboarding or something like that?" I'm like, nope. If I fall off and something touches my foot, I'm gonna give up. I'm just gonna exhale and just sink to the bottom. I'm done.
Yep. You catch me on the beach having a yinga.
All right, Colby. So, if you remember last week, we discussed some of the history of Point Pleasant. We had Lord Dunmore's War, the Battle of Point Pleasant, and Chief Cornstalk, who cursed the land and all its inhabitants. And as he was being actively murdered by the American settlers, you know, cursed the land and the people there ever since. You remember all that?
Oh, how could I forget? It's terrifying.
Yeah, the curse wasn't good. It involved, or people claim it was involved from everything from like floods to fires, explosions, tornadoes, mine collapses, and of course the infamous Silver Bridge collapse that happened on December 15th, 1967.
I mean, it made my mind collapse, that's for sure.
And that sadly claimed the lives of 46 people. But in the year leading up to the collapse, a lot of strange happenings were going on in Point Pleasant and the surrounding area that may or may not also be another unfortunate byproduct of Cornstalk's curse. And one of those is the arrival of the Mothman, who from 1966 to 1967 terrorized the community in not only Point Pleasant, but the surrounding areas.
Okay. All right. So it was a precursor.
The curse?
It was the yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was the I was going to say origin story, but precursor for the curse works way better.
That was good. It was a precursor.
Good stuff.
I appreciated it.
This was not rehearsed.
No. According to John Keel, the author of the Mothman prophecies, there were over 100 sightings of the Mothman that occurred in Point Pleasant. So I figured what we would do today is just go over the more well-known ones and the ones that I think are like the best, because no one has time for all that shit. And a lot of them were just like, I saw its eyes in the woods, and then that's it kind of thing. So yeah, you ready to dive in?
Yeah, give me the nitty gritty.
All right. Now, the official first sighting of the Mothman, or at least the first reported to the police and then picked up by the media, happened on Tuesday, November 15th between 11:30 and midnight in an area of Point Pleasant known as the TNT area. And for those of you wondering what the TNT area is, I'm just going to give a short little brief history lesson because I know how much you love those, Colby. You like to learn.
Yeah.
See,
I'm imagining the Roadrunner and the Coyote and Kaboom like written out.
Are you thinking of like the Acme company? Because this is not that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. See,
common misconception.
During World War II, the Americans built dozens of like munitions plants all across the country, kind of like pop-up restaurants, but for instruments of war. And Point Pleasant was chosen as the site for TNT manufacturing. And it also stored a lot of munitions there from 1942 to 1945. Once the war was over, the government just kind of abandoned it, kind of like a Walmart. And they started using it for chemical waste storage before giving it back to the state, and is now known as the McClintock Wildlife Management Area. So it's like a wildlife reserve. Which is
holy smokes.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up considering the site where the TNT area sits was named one of the 10 most polluted sites in the entire country in 1983, and is considered a Superfund site that's still undergoing cleanup to this day, as far as I'm aware. And it's also leaking toxic waste into the groundwater of Point Pleasant, so not ideal.
You know who else knows about all this?
Who?
Dave Attenborough.
I mean,
he's pissed.
Did you know that there's a Superfund site in Dover?
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, actually, that does ring a bell.
Yeah, the old landfill. It's on Toland Road. Apparently it was like seeping chemical waste and arsenic into the groundwater, and then also in Plastown, New Hampshire. There's a place there called I forget what it's called, but it was like a waste oil storage and recycling plant, and is currently number 19 on the list of most hazardous places in the U.S.
Damn.
Yeah, New Hampshire apparently is fucked. You look concerned.
Man, there's got to be some pretty hazardous places.
Yeah,
in the U.S.
Number 19 on that list. Yeah.
Man.
But anyways,
we're 18 next year.
We're going off topic a little bit. So again,
right.
November 15th, 1966, two couples, Linda and Roger Scarberry, and Mary and Stephen Maletti. I would say Millette. We're joyriding around the TNT area in Roger Scarberry's 1957 Chevy. And back then, and maybe, I don't know, it might still be now, but the TNT area back then was like a place where kids would go, like a lover's lane type deal. Or they would just go around to like race their cars because it's just like a fucking winding track of just dirt roads, you know. So they would go, they would fucking make out, race cars.
I mean, it's often referred to as point pleasure.
But it also seems like a great place to like just absorb all sorts of like rare and exotic cancers into your body, considering how fucking toxic the area is. But anyways, as the couples were driving down past the old generator building, they noticed two large red glowing eyes. Steve was the first to notice, and to the rest of the group was like, yo, you fucking seeing this shit? And that's when they noticed just what those eyes were like attached to. They saw what they described as a 6 to 7 foot tall man-like figure with a pale gray complexion and wings folded behind its back. The creature, either unaware they were there in the moment or noticing them, decided to duck around the corner of the generator building. But according to the witnesses, it didn't run, but kind of like penguin walked out of sight, like just kind of like hobbled along, which I mean, it's kind of cute.
Cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
Right.
The couples didn't seem to think so though, and they fucking hightailed it out of there. As they were barreling down Route 62, they saw the creature again by a large billboard as they rounded the corner, and this is where they said they saw it spread its 10-foot wide wings, which they described almost as like angelic, like it was like feathery kind of wings, and then it just fucking shot straight up into the air. Didn't flap its wings or anything, just unfurled and fucking whoosh, just up. Not good.
Cool.
This made everyone in the car
horrifying,
obviously,
cool.
Yeah. This made everyone in the car freak the fuck out. They're all yelling at Roger to drive faster, and he got his car up to speeds, they said, of almost 100 miles per hour. But this thing was just gliding right along with them, just like right over the back end of their car. They even said that they could hear the wings hitting the top of the car as it flew back and forth over the top. And this thing was so big that they could see its shadow casting down over the car. That's pretty big. It's not ideal.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the Mothman is not a moth.
No. So the Mothman got its name because one of the, like a reporter or someone writing an article about them during the time, was really big fan of like Batman, but you couldn't call it Batman because of Batman. So he thought of the next best winged creature, I guess, and called him Mothman. That's how the Mothman got its name. The Mothman didn't like introduce himself as such.
He's like, hey everybody, I'd just like to say I'd like to be referred to as but I'm getting a very like demonic, like, but I'm sure the Jersey Devil was already around, so like, well, that's taken.
Yeah, and he had the wings of a bat, so it's not like,
yeah, that's cool as fuck.
What, the Jersey Devil or the Mothman, or both?
Both, but no, just like the wingspan, just picturing the wingspan,
just like unfurling and then like not flapping them, but just fucking shooting straight up in the air. I would lose my shit.
Yeah,
I don't think I'd be okay.
Hell yeah.
And you want to hear something even worse about this? Is that the entire time it was doing this behind their car and over their car, it was making this high pitched like squeaking sound, like the sound of like a mouse or a rat just like caught in a trap. So,
damn,
Colby, I want for right now, just to entertain me, I want you to make the sound that you think it was making.
I don't know if I can go that high, but I'm envisioning like do you hear the bubbling?
No, that was
gargling.
Good. That was good.
That was added. I didn't even mean to do that, but I feel like gargling would be part of it.
That's actually pretty close to the exact sound that I had assumed it was going to make. That's good.
Right.
You killed it.
Hell yeah.
Now they were
Thank you.
they were only able to get free from the Mothman when they reached the edge of Point Pleasant, like Point Pleasant proper. The TNT area is like 7 miles outside of downtown or something like that. In the police statements, they believe that the thing may be afraid of lights, which is pretty much the opposite of a moth. But once in town,
Right.
they stopped at the local Dairyland to come up with the game plan. I don't know what Dairyland is. I tried to look it up. It's either like a malt shop and or an insurance company. I don't know. But yeah,
First Dairy Queen.
It could have been maybe, but they stopped there to come up with like to figure out what they were going to do next. Linda said they should go to the police, while Steve Roger, Captain America. I just don't worry about it. I just in my head, I just saw it written down, and I was like, Steve Rogers, Captain America. They decided that they should go.
Okay, so you're hiding stuff in here for me to. Okay, there's Easter eggs. All right, I wasn't sure there was going to be.
No, as I was reading it, but yeah,
now that I know, I'll prepare.
They decided that they should go back and make sure that this thing was still there before going to the cops, because they assumed the police would just laugh at them, which I mean, it's kind of a safe assumption given like the year and the state that this took place in.
Sure.
So as they turned around, they noticed a dead dog on the side of the road. The Mothman jumped out as they passed the dead dog, went over the top of the car and over to the field on the side of the road, which promptly made them go, fuck this, and they just drove over to a diner and called the police. Deputy Halstead responded and took their statements. Obviously, he didn't believe them, because fucking who would? But he knew the kids. He knew that they weren't like delinquents or anything like that. So he and the couple drove back out to the TNT area, but weren't able to find anything. And even the dead dog was missing when they returned. So pretty weird.
Dang.
But yeah, so that's the first sighting. How are you feeling about the Mothman right now?
I'm feeling like it's pretty scary, pretty badass, pretty like kind of typical, like cryptid sighting though. Like these are usually the timeline events. There's something scary happens, somebody takes it in, and something dies, right? Like there's something dead around. And then it's either, we pose the questions: do we go to the police? Do we not go to the police? And then here we are.
You said so much stuff, but at the same time, nothing.
That's a
it's like a debate tactic that like politicians use. Like, you said a lot of things, but I don't really know what you said.
It's the glittering generalities that I'm going for in life. It's a skill.
No,
really.
That's good. Oh
Thanks.
shit. Well,
just a little wrap up, just your spark notes.
Yeah, no.
Couple minutes in.
That's good. So what's wild about that story is that there may be a connection between it and an encounter that happened to a man named Merle Partridge not long before this, just over 90 miles away.
Cool name.
Merle Partridge.
Yeah,
it's not a bad name.
I'm into it.
Yeah. But yeah, so this happened to a man named Merle Partridge, and he lives in Salem, West Virginia, which is about 90 miles away from Point Pleasant. Merle Partridge, who for some reason goes by Newell Partridge in some of the sources I looked at, and I don't know why. But either way, he was relaxing at home watching TV when suddenly his TV started going like haywire. The image shifted to what he described as a herringbone pattern, and it started emitting a high-pitched sound that just kept getting louder and louder. He said that the sound reminded him of like a generator turning on and then like winding up, which I don't know what that sounds like, but I'm sure he said it was so loud that he had to get up and like turn his TV off because it was hurting their ears. Now at the same time, you ready for this? His dog, a German Shepherd named Bandit, was out on the porch and just started going apeshit, howling and barking like crazy in the direction of like the pump house that he had out in the field. It was almost like the dog could sense something was out in the fields that surrounded the home, but you couldn't see it. Merle stepped out onto the porch to see what the fuss was all about, and that's when Bandit just took off into the field in the direction of that shed. Merle hollered for Bandit to come back, but by now the dog was already out of sight. That's when Merle noticed red glowing lights circling around where the shed and the dog were. He said the lights hung around for a minute or two, then they disappeared. He continued calling out for Bandit, but sadly, the dog never returned, and they never saw it again.
Bandit. Bandit's a badass, though. Are you kidding me? Red at it? Fucking right.
But the reason why it's
That's
connected
wild.
to that story is that the dead dog on the side of the road could have been Bandit. I don't want to think that Mothman would kill a dog because he has no reason to.
But you said that there was no dead dog after they had told the cops, and the cops had came and taken statements, right? Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't know.
Well, no, because they didn't find the dog. So
But
it might not
a dog.
It's just a dog.
Right.
It's West Virginia in the 60s. There's probably just dead dogs.
Sure.
I don't know why I think this is. I keep talking about West Virginia like it's a fucking like it's a third world country. There's just dead dogs. And the water's all poisoned. It's fine. Yeah.
I was gonna just go along with it, but now that you're questioning it, like, why are there dead dogs everywhere in West Virginia at this time period? You know,
I don't know. Anyways, the next sighting that we're gonna go over is it's not funny, but it's kind of so the next night on November 16th, Raymond Wamesley, his wife Kathy, and Raymond's sister Marcella Bennett and Marcella's infant daughter were going to visit some friends who lived just outside the TNT area. Once it started to get a little late, Ray, Kathy, and Marcella decided it was time to go and head home, so they went out the front door. Well, as they were approaching the car, they must have startled the Mothman, who I don't know if he was crouched down behind the car or if he was like napping on the ground behind, like, you know, like after you turn a car off and it's warm, like cats will go underneath it and like sleep under there. Maybe that's a city thing with stray cats, but
yeah.
So I don't know if that's what the point was,
He's reading the paper or something.
But apparently they startled him because the Mothman slowly rose up from behind the car like a fucking nightmare Jack in the Box. Marcella said
that's what happens to him when he gets startled. He slowly rises. He's not like shocked or anything. He's just like, fucking excuse me.
Yeah, you know when you're startled, you just react slowly to things. That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Marcella said that quote, it rose up slowly from the ground, a big gray thing, bigger than a man with terrible glowing red eyes, end quote. And as the Mothman stood there, and I don't know how true this is, but one source said that it tilted its head to the side, and all I could think was like nu metal guitar players. It's like, come on. You know how like
Yes. No, I pictured it.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
So as the Mothman stood there, tilting its head to the side and just kind of observing, almost more curious than threatening. Like it wasn't like trying to like scare. I don't think it was trying to scare her. Marcella tried to run, but she was so overcome with fear and shock that she just kind of froze, almost like she was like hypnotized. When she finally made the move to start running, she turned around and immediately fell right on top of her infant daughter that she was holding in her hands.
Oh no.
It's not funny.
That was a real reaction. I heard it as I was saying it, and it sounded sarcastic.
This seemed to like kind of break her out of her hypnotic spell, and she scooped up her daughter and booked it into the house with Raymond slamming the door behind her. Now, luckily, the child was unharmed. It was totally fine. But to quote Jax Brooks' article on the sighting, from his article, the fall had, quote, badly fucked Marcella up, end quote. She had scraped knees, bruises. Her face got a little bloody. It also said that she suffered a burn from a cigarette. So I don't know if she was holding this cigarette while also holding her infant child while also trying to flee from the Mothman.
It sounds about that time era. Yeah. They didn't say anything about the Bud Heavy that was spilled on her head either, but but it was there. For sure.
The family immediately called the cops as the Mothman started stalking around on the porch. This is where it gets kind of creepy. He was stalking around on the porch, peering in through the windows, just like watching the family, and he was also prodding at the door. I don't know if he was trying to get in, but I think he was trying to figure out how like doors worked or something. I don't know. Nightmarish. Sure. But the time that the police arrived, they had their guns drawn, just ready to fucking fuck Mothman up.
Strapped. Yeah. Stay strapped.
But by this time, he had already fucked off, presumably to go terrorize someone else at this point.
Figure out a window.
Yeah. And sightings like this continued on for like 13 months. People reported seeing the Mothman in and around the area of the old TNT plant, flying over roads and houses all around town. And not just reports of Mothman. There is some seriously fucking weird shit going on at Point Pleasant at this time. You got poltergeist activity, demonic entities, strange men dressed in all black that were questioning witnesses and reporters, which we'll talk about on the next episode. People were getting really bad pink eye from looking into the Mothman's eyes, so I'm sure the pharmacist in town wasn't having like a great time. Yeah, so when you look into the eyes of the Mothman, apparently you get something, I forget the exact name, but it's a form of conjunctivitis, and it's the same kind you get when your eyes are exposed to, I think, like UV radiate. Like if you look in the sun long enough, you'll get conjunctivitis. So it's like that kind of, it's not good. I don't know if you've ever had conjunctivitis or pink eye, but it's not fun.
Right.
It's a nightmare.
It's like psychic feces. Straight to the eye.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to touch you. He shits in your eyes.
Terrifying. So for a year, the residents not only had to deal with this, like normal everyday life bullshit. Now they got to worry about demons, aliens, and monsters. But all this came to a head on December 15th, 1967. It was around 5 p.m. rush hour. People were getting off of work, heading to go do some Christmas shopping, or just heading out for the evening. It was a Friday night, so they're just going out. But whatever the reason for people's commute that day, it's safe to say that there was an unusually heavy amount of traffic that day. And the Silver Bridge was loaded. The entire length of the bridge was loaded with traffic. Now, unbeknownst to not only the people on the bridge, but the people in charge of maintaining the bridge, it was suffering from a faulty eye bar that had begun eroding over time. And due to where this eye bar was located, it was missed time and time again by those who were responsible for catching such a fault in the construction. So with all this extra weight, the faulty eye bar gave out, creating a chain reaction, and the bridge started to give way. Eyewitnesses remember the bridge starting to, quote, fold like a deck of cards. And from the point of the critical failure of that I-beam, it took less than 20 seconds for the 1,460 foot suspension portion of the bridge to collapse completely into the Ohio River, taking along with it 32 vehicles and claiming the lives of 46 people, 2 of which their bodies still have never been found. I'm safe to assume it was probably swept away by the river.
Or the Mothman.
So
perfect opportunity.
I don't think he was trying to go after people. We'll don't worry. We'll get to what the Mothman might be, what his intentions were. Not on this episode, but we'll get there. Was this accident caused by the Mothman? People did claim they saw the Mothman perch atop of it just a few days prior. Others claim they saw men in black climbing around on it, possibly to sabotage it for some unknown reason. Or it's just, this could have just been another unfortunate disaster that, America's infrastructure, as much as we love it, not the best. But after this incident, the Mothman sightings just kind of ended. I don't know if the Mothman vanished or, the town and its people are probably in such a state of mourning and grief that stories of and sightings of winged men just didn't seem to matter as much anymore after such a huge tragedy and a real tragedy too. This is something that happened, people seeing the Mothman, that's whatever. You might have not, but I don't know. But no one can really say. There
was a bridge there, and now there's not a bridge there. We can say definitively that something happened to the bridge.
Yes. I'm glad you're here to put things in perspective.
If there's one thing I could do for this podcast, it's, just point out the facts here, folks.
No, and it's greatly appreciated. I'd be lost without you.
No problem.
And but yeah, that's where we're going to leave off on this episode. And we'll continue on next week with the stories of some other weird stuff that happened during the Mothman train over Point Pleasant, specifically the Men in Black and, if time allotted, Injured Cold. We're definitely going to talk about Injured Cold, though. He's a fucking weird dude. So yeah, Colby. So those are some of the sightings and the unfortunate end of the Mothman sightings in Point Pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? How you feeling? What are you? Just give me something.
Well worth the wait, I will tell you. You know, I feel like that the slow burn of episode 1 was, really ramping up for something good.
Yeah.
And fuck winged beast shooting straight up in the sky. That's all I needed. That's all I needed. And just destroying bridges in people's lives. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Super cool. Big corn curses the earth, the land, and Mothman.
It's
cool as fuck.
It's corn sock, but it's fine.
Corn. Damn. What did I call him?
Big horn.
That's what I said, right?
You said big horn. Yeah. It's not. It's corn stock.
Corn stock. Got it.
Oh okay. Shit! All right, man. Well, yeah. Next
I'm never gonna get his name right.
Next week's gonna be weirder. I promise you. It's gonna be like uncomfortably weird.
Cool.
Yeah. So
let's do it.
Look forward to that. Colby, is there anything you want to plug before we scoot on out of here?
I mean, the band's doing good. We got some songs that we've been nailing down with a new drummer. Check us out, Lanterns. Yeah, we got to change that that Spotify name. I just realized that's like the last piece of the puzzle. Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna start playing out soon. And
yeah, so it's Lantern's Last Light on Spotify. Check out their single they have out now called Mitochondria.
Right.
Haha. What's it called?
Makahiki Kamaha.
That's what it is. Then follow them on Instagram. Oh, yeah. It's Lanterns207, but there's no vowels. So it's LNTNRS 207, I believe, on Instagram.
Yeah, we said I will not take a vowel, Alex. Okay. Is that the host of
Nope. That's Jeopardy.
Damn it.
Right.
Thanks a lot, Wayne Brady.
Pat Sajak is Wheel of Fortune. That's what you're thinking of. Although I don't think he's hosting it. I don't know. He's like 180 years old. He's as old as David Attenborough at this point, I feel like. Yeah.
Holy shit. Can we just start comparing people's ages to David Attenborough?
Kinda. He's like Father Time at this point.
I love it.
He's great. All right. If you want to follow us on Instagram, Cryptid Cocktail, follow us on TikTok, Cryptid Cocktail Party. If you like what you're hearing and want to support the show, just head on over to patreon.com/Cryptid Cocktail Party. It's $5 a month, and you will get things when I get to them. But with that, Colby, do you want to say goodbye to everyone?
Bye, cryptid lovers and listeners. Love you.